Hello, and welcome to Shamrock Talk, the internet's number one mother-son Celtics podcast. I'm your host, Jake Olin, here once again with my mother, Karen Olin.
Hello.
Back, second podcast of 2024. I'm 12 days free of caffeine now.
You look much better.
On the
Much
mend.
better.
Yes,
Yes.
last episode was a struggle. Oh boy. Oh my good. The first like 5 days were just torturous.
Yeah.
Then after that, I'm normalizing. So
Yeah.
getting back to it.
Good.
And yeah, interesting week for the Celtics. Since we last spoke, 3-2, 29-9 overall. First in the Atlantic Division, first in the East, first in the NBA, and 18-0 at home. Lots to talk about this week.
Yep.
I guess we'll start at the top with probably the biggest snoozer of the group. Celtics beat the Jazz 126-97. My only note for this game is oof.
Yeah.
This game was over before it started. Man, oh man.
Yeah.
Um,
It was not good. They're not good. The Jazz are not good.
another team
We shot the three horribly.
Another team who I just can't fathom how they've won 16 games. I'm like, how there's no way the Pistons are less talented than this team. I mean,
Yeah,
they
I
flat
agree.
out stunk. I mean, I don't know how they're winning games. They're 16-20.
Agreed.
Or they were when we played them. Not how they've done since, but yeah, I mean, I just really have nothing to say. They just stunk, and we played well, and yeah, there's many more exciting games to talk about. What do you have for this one?
Uh, Not much. Good game for statistics to go up for a few people.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Tatum. Jaylen
Yeah,
Brown, not a great game for him. Yeah.
yeah.
He struggled a
Streakiness
little bit there.
continues.
Yeah. Not horrible. He was 5 for 12, 2 for 4 at 3.
Yeah.
13 points, but he just didn't have the greatest game. Overall, like I said, it wasn't a good team.
No, I
We
mean,
didn't
it's
play
just
outstanding. I just
no.
don't
I
think
mean,
they were very
it
good.
was just over so quickly in the second quarter. We got 15 in the first and early in the second. And I go, oh, this one's
Third
just
quarter
crap.
we were already up. So they played pretty
Yeah.
evenly when they came out in the third quarter, which is normal for us not to bring that energy in the
They,
third
they
quarter.
shot
But
36.2%, 17.6,
yeah,
67.6.
yeah,
Oof.
yeah,
Just bad. Just bad,
yeah.
bad, bad. Another win at home, though. Advanced to 17-0 after that one.
Not much to say.
Yeah, I can move on. That one just
Yep.
stunk. All right, next. Pacers doubleheader. First one was the win in Indiana, 118-101. Little revenge game factor after the in-season tournament bounce. I'll let you start on this one. What do you think?
Porzingis went out with the eye injury.
Yes.
I think the Jays had great games again.
Mm-hmm.
They shot pretty well, except for Jaylen Brown at the 3. He was 1 for 4, but overall, very good. I think Drew Holiday and Derek White struggled offensively, and we'll talk about that, the woes of Derek White as
Yeah.
we go on.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought Tatum had a fabulous game. I thought they played really well, but overall,
Yeah. He was
the
lights out.
Pacers just weren't shooting well in general. They
That too.
did.
Yeah.
The only thing that stood out for me in this game, and the Pacers sort of kept coming back a little bit, was we had 17 turnovers. 17 and 9 for the Pacers. With the score of this game and how we were shooting and everything, you would have thought it would have been a little bit more of a blowout, but because of the 17 turnovers, that kind of kept them in it at times, or close enough to maybe crawl back. And more playing time for starters on both teams. But yes, 17 turnovers. I think that's something that they really have to look at and figure out why at this point in the season, what's going on. Because these 5 have played together. Porzingis was out early, but now we should be pretty used to playing together. This shouldn't be happening quite as much. You?
Agreed. Yeah, similar stuff. The Jays were awesome. A classic Jays game, 38-31. And when everyone else goes cold, as they kind of did shooting wise, they can carry you in games, and it's good to see every once in a while. We harp on them for shooting a lot, or handling the ball too much, but games like this, they can win you games all year in different ways, and they did
Yeah.
that. The other thing, Horford was amazing in this game.
Yes, I
10
agree.
points, 8 assists, 7 rebounds, and that doesn't even include the defensive effort. He had a block on what's Miles Turner, at least
Yeah.
one block that I can remember.
Yeah.
Jumping to save balls out of bounds. He was vintage Al Horford in this one.
Hmm.
Um, Flirting with a triple double, and
Yeah.
fantastic there. Good win.
And it's so funny how Scal and I I think yeah, it was Scal was talking about him like he was a bench player now. And it almost forget they almost forget he was our starter last year.
Yeah.
He played a lot of minutes. So I don't consider him coming off the bench necessarily, even though he does.
Hmm.
He comes
Agreed.
in as a true professional, a true starter, making the right plays, solid and confident. And I think with the exception of the, wear and tear on his older body, that we have to,
Hmm.
he plays like a starter every time he comes in. For
Yep.
me anyway. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about that game. Not too much.
Hmm. Agreed. We can move on to the next one. Doubleheader at the Pistons once again. This time
Pacers.
falling, or Pacers, not the
Yeah.
Pistons. This time falling 133, 131. No Tatum in this game, and Halliburton went out early with the injury, which now we know is not serious.
Yeah.
Seems to be fine.
I think he
But
was thrown. I couldn't even rewatch it. Did you see it? I couldn't even
yeah,
rewatch it
the
when they
weird
replayed
split
it. The
thing, or
split. Yeah. I mean, that's
yeah,
just got to be a shock to the system, is what
yeah,
it is. So I'm glad he's not hurt because that was horrifying.
yeah, carried off, but he is okay.
And he
So
slipped twice with those sneakers. Nobody else
did
was
he?
slipping. Yeah.
I don't
He
remember.
slipped earlier, kind of the same way, kind of out of bounds, not a split or
Hmm.
anything, but twice. So I think it'll be interesting to see if he switched sneakers for the next game.
Hmm. So the stars were out for this one, but we had a controversial end of the game. Lots going on. The overturned foul call on Jaylen Brown at the end there that negated what would have been 2 free throws, and then the foul called on Porzingis to end the game on the Mathurin three. I don't know if you saw after the game, the official game report declared that that was a wrong call, clean block,
I don't know
and
about that. I'm not sure I agree with
that's
that,
what
but
they said.
yeah. Typically, though, they don't call those at the very end of the game, right?
Correct.
They allow it to go into overtime. I think that
Yeah.
is more the. I think there was he was not straight up. There was some contact there. Again, I'm not sure what
Yeah.
they were seeing, but yeah, it was a weird game. But I think we had more problems than, you know what I mean? It should
Agreed.
never have even gotten to that
Agreed.
point. 15 turnovers, they had two.
Hmm.
Again,
Once
how does
again.
that,
Yeah.
this is a team that is seasoned, played together for a while. We shouldn't be having 15 turnovers. And it was
Hmm.
all, Jaylen Brown 5, Drew
Yeah. Well,
Holiday
that'll do
3,
it.
you know. Yeah, a third of them went to Jaylen. So yeah, I think they, even without, obviously they didn't have Halliburton, we didn't have um
Tatum.
Tatum, but they've really got to look at dribbling and decisions about who's going to dribble. And I think that's a problem.
Agreed.
Again, I'll bring that up later. But yeah, I don't know. Interesting. And he had a great game. I think Jaylen Brown had a very, very good game.
He did. He
Shooting
was
was lights out
on
and
fire most of the
efficient.
game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, very efficient. Again, Derek White shooting slump. He's just not shooting well. And
Yeah.
now I think he has a little chip on his shoulder and is taking, it used to be he took shots kind of in a natural, it looked a
Yeah.
little more natural to me. Now it seems like there are a few forced shots and
Forcing
not
it.
not
Yeah.
good choices.
Yeah. There's the whole Derek White all-star talk, trying to prove himself in that way. I think,
Agreed.
it's
I
a
think
little.
there's a little head game going on for himself.
Yep. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, we can get into that later, but I think that'll smooth itself out as the season goes along.
and the
Um,
Pacers shot the three very well. in this
They can
game.
score. I mean,
They
everyone
came
knows they
back.
can
Yeah.
score. Yeah.
They came back and they were very, very good.
There's no question that those guys
Yeah.
can score.
And Aaron Neesmith, I think he's a great addition to this team. He really is. He's a
Yeah.
little bull in a china shop at times where he is a little too rough, similar, but I think he's gotten that into he's controlling that a little bit more. But
Yeah.
always happy to see a former Celtic thrive somewhere else.
Yeah. No, I mean, never would have thought that he'd carve out a role like this from
Agreed.
his Celtics performances, but look at him go.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else on the Pacers before we move on?
No, they're a good team, and I think that offensively they played extremely well. I
Agreed.
mean, I will bring up, I do think we have some defensive issues, even though last night we were discussing before the game that we're rated second in defensive rating, or the Celtics are. And I don't know what, is that based on the number of points we hold our opponents to? What is that based on?
There's a lot of
Because
metrics that go into that. Yeah.
I can tell you right now, when you watch our defense at times, it is not very good. People have their way with us in the lane. They really do. I mean, who's the I can't remember his first name, Anderson. Did you watch him in the lane?
Slow-mo.
At will.
I like
at
him.
will.
He's awesome.
Yeah. But at will in the lane, pretty much. He ate us up. What? Like, I don't know. It's just interesting how easy some of the shots seem for our opponents in the lane. So our lane defense, I think we're struggling with.
Yes. All right. Well, let's get into the interesting ones, the top teams playing the big dogs. First overtime win at home versus the Timberwolves, 127-120, to by a thread hang on to that undefeated home record. No Gobert, no Porzingis in this game. But a fun one, a very fun one.
Very fun. Agreed.
Yeah.
They're a great team.
Yeah, they are.
They're a really good team. Even without Gobert, they're a very good team.
They're long, defend really well.
Defend very well, yes.
Yeah. Kind of, I genuinely did not think we were going to win this game. 2 minutes to go, down 9.
Agreed.
Coming down the stretch.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, really had all the.
Why do you think that happened?
What do you mean? Why we were down? I mean, we're down a lot of the game.
For us offensively, I think we went into our third and fourth quarter where the ball movement was non-existent.
Oh, I agree. I wrote down too much Tatum ISO coming down
everywhere. Yes, easily read, easily defended. A Tatum, 1-on-3 outside turnaround is probably not our best shot every time.
Yeah.
It just, I just think the ball movement was so fun and so good in the first half of this game.
Yeah.
It really was. I thought it was outstanding. And then it just is stagnant in the second half of the game. And they were shooting, they were shooting incredibly well. In that.
Well, I thought it was funny too. You had plays like, you're going into too much Tatum ISO. He gets fouled. He misses the second free throw. And then Derek White gets the offensive rebound. And then in kind of a scramble, the ball moves. And you have great ball movement that finds Drew Holiday in the corner to hit a clutch 3. It felt like our offense was better when things were scrambling because we were actually moving the ball and not slowing it down.
Yes.
And getting open shots versus, the trudging of Tatum over and over again playing ISO. It's like
dribble. And eventually you catch on.
I mean, well, thankfully they do the same. It was like, all right, here's Anthony Edwards. It's
agreed. I was
every time. It's like it's the same. They kind of
and we finally double teamed him at times.
Yeah,
we finally started double teaming him, knowing what he was going to do because it was
correct.
Was evident.
Yeah.
So yes, that's I think what helped us crawl back is he did the same thing.
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards did the same thing. Easily read, easily defended. Instead of the good ball movement, which they had good ball movement as well. I mean, good team. It stopped. He took it all on his shoulders, and we ended up climbing back. And I still think that, like I said, earlier, the defense in the lane. We got to work on that big time.
Yeah.
Was this the one where Jaylen Brown in the overtime got stuck in the corner?
Yes.
They
Yeah.
inbounded the ball.
And
He
he
thought, I
throws it
think he was
out. Yeah.
going
Gonna
to
get
be
fouled.
fouled, dribbled way
Yes.
too long. And again, coaches, somebody's got to take him aside and say, guess what? Not the best dribbler. Do you watch the film? Do you watch the film? Not the best dribbler. You need to pass quicker.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden they have another opportunity for a 3 or with 30 seconds left. And this team, you don't want them having the ball with 30 seconds left with another opportunity. No. So it was just kind of a weird loss of the ball there. All worked out, but yeah.
Yep. Yeah, only other thing I had for this one was TD Garden was rocking. It was loud in there. It felt like a big game. And
your dad and your brother were there.
Oh, really?
Good
nice.
Game. Probably best game.
Yeah. It sounded loud in there. It sounded like a good atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's always good to see. And staying undefeated at home. I mean, I think that come playoff time, that can be big.
Yeah, this was a big win.
We lost to them in overtime too, so another kind of revenge game. And we finally got an overtime win. We were defeated in overtime games coming into this one.
Agreed. No, that was a big win.
Big clutch win.
Yep.
And then we can get to last night. I
didn't even pull up the box score. I couldn't
Celtics lose in Milwaukee 102-35, and that score does not even really represent how
I think
disastrous this game really was.
The bench hung in there is really what happened in the second half.
I mean, yeah, but
and then they took out and put their bench in.
Exactly. The effort was not, I don't think, there from the Bucks as much either, but yeah, starters get pulled at halftime.
Which I thought about
easily the worst game we played this year. I mean, we looked completely lost. It was, I don't even know how to. There too many issues to even start.
So shooting the 3, they shot the 3 very well to begin with. I mean, Damian Lillard hit a couple daggers, and then they had
Bobby Portis just couldn't miss.
Yeah, but another big problem, the lane. Could anybody be stopped? And who are we going to stop Giannis? I mean, Drew just can't do it. He's not tall enough.
Well, Noel Horford was definitely a problem. He did not play on the back-to-back.
But lane defense was horrendous as well. It really was. They got anything they wanted.
Yeah, but I think for me, part of that was offensively. We were so lost offensively and couldn't hit any shot that off every missed shot, they're running in transition. And Giannis has a full head of steam going forward. We're good at stopping Giannis in the half court. When the plays and he has to bump and grind, we're good. But if he's getting the ball quick and running full head of steam, we're done. We have no chance. And every time it was just clank, and they're off to the races, clank, and they're running another fast break, and it just over and over again. We just could not. But it wasn't. Typically, we get on the team for too many threes, but as Scal does say, we get a lot of open threes. This was not that. We were just there's no. I thought
their defense at the 3 was very good. We had actually some backdoor cuts and some passes.
Correct. Yes,
that were very good.
Successful offense was that.
Yeah, but we just couldn't catch up with them missing our threes, them making their threes. And I mean, they just slowly, some of the camera shots were priceless though, of our players' faces during that time. And as it got closer to halftime, like, what is going on? Mm-hmm. And they had played, to their credit, overtime game, home. A lot of them had played 40 plus minutes.
Yeah.
So, I understand the decision not to come out after halftime, right? You're digging your way back. You've got a Giannis with they've lost 2 games in a row. The Bucks had lost, I think 3 of their last 4 they have lost, maybe not, but I believe so. And so he had a full head of steam, and who's going to stand in front of him and kind of take that beating at this point? Is it worth it?
Of the regular season.
Yeah. I don't
down
think it's
30.
Exactly. Yeah. So you're going to take a pounding. There's a good chance you're not going to win if they keep playing the way that that they did. So I understand pulling them. A little disappointing. Got to be hard sitting there in the half, humiliated at Milwaukee for the starters. But yeah, I don't think mentally we were prepared, probably physically
No,
worn
not even
out.
at all. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just
It's just
strange.
strange. It just felt like nothing. And as you said, the one thing that did work was those backdoor cuts. Tatum had a fantastic bounce pass to Porzingis in the first half. That
Mm-hmm.
like one of the best plays I've ever seen him make,
Yeah,
passing
Jalen
wise.
Brown had a yes, it
Couple of good
was. Yep.
cuts. Yeah,
Jalen Brown had some cuts and some, that was probably the bright spot for me is you rarely see
exactly.
that.
Can we watch
But I
that
guess
film and say if they blitz you on the perimeter, someone needs to cut
yeah,
and get to the
yeah,
basket.
yeah.
So,
But I thought
if,
their defense was very good. And it was so funny because before the game started, they flashed that defensive rating of they were 23rd in
yeah,
the
well,
league
that's been
in
the concern
defensive
all year
rating.
with them is that their defense is bad and that
And I thought their defense at 3 was very good. I mean, they
agreed.
were
I thought
all
that was
over
fantastic.
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mentally, I just don't think we were prepared,
No,
you know?
which is I don't know, kind of
Yeah.
silly, but
Yeah.
national TV game, second place team in the East.
Did
Expect
you
kind
get
of.
to watch the whole thing on whatever your
Um, I mean, I was kind of doing other stuff during the second half, but
they turned it off. TNT turned it off.
oh,
They
did
went to
they?
another game. Yeah.
Oh,
First
really?
time I've ever seen it happen. Yeah. They
I
tried
did
to go
not
to
know that.
another game, but somebody was down. Was it the Thunder? Somebody was beating somebody by
Thunder,
40.
yeah, the Thunder
Yeah.
beat the Trailblazers by like 50 points. Yeah.
Yeah. So they couldn't
Oh
go to
boy.
that one. And the only other one was the Knicks game. And they ended up doing the second half of the Knicks game. So it was so funny. Yeah. We couldn't even watch the last half because
Wow.
they changed it. Yeah. They changed the game.
No, yeah, no, I saw it, but
Yeah.
oof,
Kind of funny.
not good.
That's the first time it's ever happened that they switched the
Yep.
game.
Maybe a good wake up call.
I agree.
Be
Timing is not
humbled
bad.
every once in a while. Yeah.
Yep. Timing is not bad. Good to be reminded.
I will note, I mentioned in the last game that TD Garden was rocking because the Bucks crowd was asleep.
Yeah.
What was going on in that game? I'm like, it's a big game. Thursday night TNT national TV. I mean, the crowd just couldn't have sounded less interested. I was like, what is happening at this game? So a little disappointed by the Pfizer Forum, Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Step your game up. That was pitiful. Your team crushed the number one team in the East, and you guys sounded like you couldn't get out of bed. I mean, I heard there was a snowstorm coming, so maybe that had some effects. But come on, it's Milwaukee.
Yeah.
You gotta be used to some snowstorms. Get in the arena.
Yeah, it did seem quiet.
So that's it.
Agreed. So just going forward, like I said, 2 things. Turnovers. Let the ball handlers handle the ball just a little bit more. Don't dribble into 3 to 4 people at a time, right? I mean, if you have 2 or 3 on you, don't go through them. Jalen Brown. Pass a little sooner out of the double team. Jalen Brown. And Jason Tatum. And yeah, let's get those turnovers, passes. Let's get to know how each other play and less turnovers. And defense in the lane. Figure it out. That's I think a big one for us. As high as our defensive rating is, I still think our lane defense is not good against a very good team. It is a weakness. Those 2 things. And I think we're on our way to playoffs. Looking good. A lot of games left.
Still lots of games left. It is.
How about you? What do we need to work on? What do we need to work on?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, yeah, turnovers are a big one. Yeah, I don't know. I think you nailed it. Not relying on the 3. I mean, all the stuff we've been saying for 2 years now, basically.
But
yeah.
all in all, still number
All
one.
in all, yeah, exactly. Can't complain.
Even the loss to the
Health
Bucks,
is my
they're
number
3
one.
games
Can we
up.
get to
Yeah.
the playoffs healthy? Because
Yeah.
we're very thin, as we learned from
Yeah.
Al Horford being out last night.
Yes.
If Al Horford or Porzingis goes out, we are in big trouble.
Yes. Agreed.
And so yes, health
100%.
Keep people
Although
resting. Keep rotating
Kornet
people
has
in.
had some very good moments.
Agreed. I
Like
do not want
offensively?
Cornette on Giannis at any point
No,
in
no,
any
no, no,
game,
no, no,
or
no, no.
Embiid, or any of the
Yeah,
guys we're
yeah,
going to
yeah.
see in the playoffs. I love
Yes,
Cornette.
yes.
Cornette's one of the best
Agreed.
bench guys that we have.
Y-
I mean,
Agreed.
always
He's
cheering
had
people
some
on the bench,
moments
always
of
good
offensive.
attitude,
Yeah.
great locker room guy by all accounts. No, I don't want him anywhere near
No,
the playoffs.
no. He's
Unfortunately,
had
sorry,
some
Lynn.
moments though.
I agree. I think
Um,
at times he can
I
play,
I'm
but
still hoping for a trade of somebody a little more rugged.
yeah. Well, that's
One
what
trade for a big that can.
Brad Stevens was hinting at wanting a big defensive wing,
Yeah,
um, which I kind of get, but I think we much more need a big guy. I
I do
mean,
too. I don't know about a defensive wing. I think we
yeah,
have kind of that
exactly.
covered.
Between Drew Holiday and the Jays, and I think
Yeah,
there we're
I
kind of
think we're
set.
fine there. I think it's a big in the middle. I'm not sure what he's seeing, but
Yeah,
Porzingis, as high
agreed.
as you can be at him on offense, defensively, mm, like you said, Embiid, Giannis. I
Yeah.
don't know. Who was your player of the week?
My player of the week was Brooke Lopez. He always kills us. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I mean, as we talk about size, the double bigs of having Giannis and him for us can just be devastating. It's
agreed.
like both those guys in the middle and Brook being able to stretch the floor if Giannis is playing inside is a killer combo.
Yeah,
I think he's very underrated to what Milwaukee brings. Could have chose Bobby Portis as well. He was another pick. I think those two guys are very more crucial to the, but I went
yeah.
with Brooke Lopez this week. What about you?
Mine was Nas Reed.
Nas
I
Reed. That's a good
yeah,
one. He's
I
awesome.
think. I mean, and they don't even because of Anthony Edwards. I really don't think. I mean, I think they had a much better chance winning this game if they had used Anthony Edwards and Nas Reed a little bit more on the inside.
Yeah.
We couldn't stop them, either one of them on the
Agreed.
inside. They just, so, but I thought he played incredibly well. I was looking him up. He was undrafted. Um, not played as much because of Gobert and Carl Anthony Towns now on
I
that
know.
team, but he would be a good fit for a lot of teams. I think
Agreed.
he's a good player, and they do not use him like they could. He moves well. He's a
Yeah.
big
It's
guy. I
funny.
mean,
During the game, I was thinking how they trade either Karl Anthony Towns or Gobert so you can play him more because you can get more for those guys and add another piece and put him right in there. I think that's
you, I think you could really mold him to the player that you want to play. I don't
yeah,
know. I think he's a very good player, and
I
he played
agree.
very well against us. 19 points, 10 rebounds. I thought he played extremely well. And Gobert was out, so he had more time. But he's sort of a waste on that team with the other two.
Agreed. No,
And
I
Carl
every
Anthony
time I
Towns. Why didn't they give him the ball more inside? We couldn't stop him during that
yeah, he was
game.
on fire.
We had nobody on the inside. I think they kind
Mhm.
of blew it that way too. I would have had him
It's the
going
the
inside.
star ISO syndrome. Every team
Yep,
falls for it. Happens.
exactly. So I think they missed out on that as far as him too, playing the ball through him more. But yeah, Naz Reid was my player of the week.
Yeah, good choice. Big Naj Reed fan. All right, coming up Saturday, the return of Ime Udoka at home in the Garden. Be interesting to see what kind of reception he gets.
I don't think it's
Um
gonna be good.
it'll
You
be
know,
it'll be interesting.
I mean, I don't think it's gonna be like a standing ovation when he comes in or
No, no,
anything.
no.
Yeah, I just don't. So it's gonna
I
be
wouldn't think
maybe
so.
not booed, but yeah, I don't think it's
Yeah,
gonna be.
I think it'll be interesting to see how the
Yeah,
crowd reacts. Be
yeah.
watching for that.
Brett is going to that game with a friend.
Nice.
Yeah, so he'll be there. He'll be able to tell us what the crowd is like.
Following that up, we travel to Toronto Monday, January 15th. And then home for the Spurs. And then the more interesting one, Friday, we get the defending NBA champions, Denver Nuggets, at home. Hopefully, still at that point, defending our home stand. That'll be a big one. But yeah, we got Jokic in the building.
They haven't played well either, have they?
Yes, they're what,
Struggled.
second or third in the West.
Third, I think. Didn't Thunder pass them? I think Thunder is second now.
Yeah, they are. I believe it's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, but they have that defending champions kind of returning team syndrome where they're not
any game with
worried about it.
Jokic is
Exactly. They're gonna be there right at the end
yeah.
with any of those teams in the West. So not counting them out.
Oh yeah, they're only one game out. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, they're right in it.
Pelicans climbing up too in the standings. The West is going to be so interesting.
Agreed.
Crazy what's going to happen.
Getting close.
Lot of games left.
A lot of games. I know. Looking at the schedule, scrolling down, it's like, whew.
We have a
Feels like
lot
we've
of games.
played so many. We're not even halfway there.
Nope. A lot of games.
But we'll still be here to gripe about all of it, even if we're first in the NBA.
Our big complaints.
Yeah.
So our unofficial sponsor
today's
today,
unofficial sponsor,
Polar Seltzer,
Polar
Can.
Seltzer.
It's called Yazoo Orange Blossom. Very tasty.
Yazoo Orange Blossom, Polar Seltzers.
Yeah, that's our unofficial sponsor.
Today's Shamrock Talks unofficial sponsor of this episode. If you'd like to be the official sponsor, Polar, give us a call. It doesn't take a lot. I do have one more piece of news, somewhat interesting, announced the other day. Shams Charania tweeted, Netflix is creating a NBA documentary series modeled after its NFL quarterback show. The 5 players chosen for the first season of the project: LeBron James, Jason Tatum, Jimmy Butler, Anthony Edwards, and Domantas Sabonis.
Very
so we are
interesting.
going to get a little bit of Jason Tatum on the Netflix next year.
He doesn't seem the type, does he?
I mean, he's clearly...
He seems slightly boring to me. Don't you think?
Yeah, but he does the commercials. He's got the Ruffle sponsorship. He's got the Jordan shoes. He's out there doing stuff.
No. I mean making all the right choices, kind of clean cut.
Yeah.
Drinks a lot of milk. I don't know. He seems so. It's going to be interesting to see inside his life.
I agree. I was thinking the same. I mean, it would have been much more interesting. I mean, these are all superstar players.
Yeah.
LeBron, Tatum, Butler, Edwards, Sabonis. I thought it would be much more interesting to, have one star player, one like 6-man role player, an old guy, a young guy, a rookie, some guy who's like barely on the roster. I thought that would be a much more interesting mix to see than 5 students. Like, oh, another NBA superstar. Like, here's me on the plane again. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. Now, that's what I mean. Like, it's going to be interesting what keeps you going with Jason Tatum, because there doesn't seem to be a quirky, unique, interesting side. So it'll be interesting to see if there's
agreed,
something unexpected by the fans. Right? He just seems like goes to bed at 9, works out for 5 hours the next day, hangs out with his child. Very straightforward guy. But we'll see. Maybe there is some secret to uncover in his personal, private life.
We'll get it on Netflix next year.
All right. That's all I have.
Me as well. This has been your Shamrock Talk, January 12th, 2024. As usual, we are worldwide, all platforms: Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, at Shamrock Talk Pod on Twitter, at Shamrock Talk on Instagram, Facebook, and anywhere you get your podcasts. I think we should be there. Google Podcasts, my favorite. And that's it. See you next week. Go Celtics.
Go Celtics.